Bismillahi, bless. I open myself to you, my God. Who or why can stand alone or stand with 100%. Then I open myself to you, my witnesses. If I have any besides you, my God, then I seek to reach consensus with, by asking, would you like to do this with or without me, or not at all? Egypt's parliament could buy back all the land and assets of Egypt from the people for 12 times their highest assessed value, and then let the original owners buy or lease or rent the land and assets back at around 6 times their highest assessed value, because individual parts have less value standing alone than they do as part of an integrated whole. The currency for this purchase by eminent domain condemnation could be printed by the Egyptian treasury without borrowing, because the asset of the land of Egypt and the improvements thereupon would be transferred to the balance sheet of the Egyptian government, while the newly printed currency would be transferred to the bank accounts of the original Egyptian land and asset owners. The transaction is reversible. The new money is fully backed. To prevent inflation, the Parliament of Egypt can require sovereign savings trust accounts be established for each of the original land and property owners, with covenants to control the rate and uses for which the newly minted money can be withdrawn. Some of the original owners will want their fee simple title back immediately, and will of course be permitted to withdraw the full sum to pay the Egyptian government. Others from among the original owners will want to retain more of a balance in the bank, and will be content to lease their land and assets back from the Egyptian government. Still others who are highly leveraged already will want the Egyptian government to assume their mortgage, and might be content to rent back their land or assets, or simply use the money to travel Egypt and the world. To justify the eminent domain purchase price valuation at 12 times the highest assessed value, the Egyptian government will need to present a comprehensive land use and planning report and map with expert opinions to back up the reasons for retaining a percentage of the land taken, and or restricting its use upon resale back to the original owners. So said land and assets can only be used, say, as farmland or for tourism or for government-approved purposes such as utilities or schools or public parks and recreation in an integrated fashion, so that that designated percentage increases the national and international value of the land and assets of all Egypt by making them more welcoming and more perfect, both to Egyptian citizens and international visitors. Much in the same way a rabbit warren of patchwork private properties is limited in value compared to the same property organized to provide for both public and private, domestic and international uses, much like the way Shanghai Expo 2010 organized land, which otherwise would have had a lower assessed value, if not for the exhibits and buildings and international traffic brought into the area. Likewise, regarding the proposed earthquake evacuation corridors for Istanbul, which can double as a Turkish 2020 expo and cultural mall. Also, the Egyptian parliament must establish government trust accounts overseen by internationally recognized neutral and trusted third parties like Saudi Arabia, the World Bank, the IMF, and the Arab League, so the Egyptian government can prove that, like the sovereign savings trust accounts established for each of the original owners to control their rate of spending and overseen by the Egyptian parliament, so too the Egyptian parliament will have their rate of spending of the fully realized present sovereign value of Egyptian land and assets when completely organized under the sovereign. So too the Egyptian government will operate under covenants to control the spending of their newfound wealth, resulting from taking the initiative of sovereign reorganization of land and assets, and spend the wealth, rotating wing, in designated sectors on specified improvements at a pace which prevents inflation while fueling job growth, consumer demand, and domestic supply of goods and services brought forth from the orderly redevelopment of farmland, which is now being lost to residential and commercial development due to market irregularities resulting from international and domestic political subsidies, and tourism opportunities being lost to confusion stemming from unemployment, which, God willing, will be remedied by employing Egyptians sector by sector to participate in rebuilding the common assets of park and Nile shoreline, and restoration of farmland and utility quarters, and development of the international humanitarian corridor along the Tropic of Cancer, and the virtual, if not actual, monetary union created by joint membership in such a global right-of-way. In this way, instead of continuing to look under the couch cushions for spare change, Egypt can reunite with its sovereign authority and take control of Egyptian land and Egyptian assets and Egyptian planning and Egyptian destiny, while assuring all existing mortgages and debts will continue to be paid in a timely fashion with Egyptian pounds, which are fully backed by fee simple title and taxes upon well-organized land use plans which maximize the return on investment from Egyptian land and assets by putting them to their highest and best use in both the public and private sector, according to the abilities of the Egyptian government as set forth in the land and asset plans and maps, and according to the skills of the private property owners of Egypt, who in the majority of cases will have the option to repurchase fee simple title, or a deed of trust, or a lease purchase, or lease, or simply rent, or become completely liquid and move into new areas of commerce and development to build the Egypt of the future, or take stronger positions with ancient Egyptian assets side by side with the Egyptian government by their own choice, according to the terms and conditions of the sovereign savings trust accounts, into which the 12 times highest assessed value for their land and assets is paid in the eminent domain condemnation proceedings in full public view of the light of day, so one and all can be assured of fair and equal treatment according to historic assessed values. http://waterworld-eden4.wordpress.com/2012/29/EGYPTS Egypts-parliament-could-buy-back- all the land. Each word is hyphenated. All the land assets of Egypt from the people for 12, the word, 12 the number, times their highest assessed value, then let the original owners buy or lease or rent the 1 the L. Buy or rent the L / Bismillah, may the one who can stand alone or stand with any, accept whose efforts. Allah Akbar.